Unfortunately, Angie is pretty cooked today. She's not feeling very well at all, very drained. So it's just going to be a bit of a wander around town, I think, and just get the day over with, really. So that's exactly what we did, really. We just had a little bit of a wander around Mount Gambier town centre. To be fair, it was nothing to write home about, just a fairly typical town centre, and we spent most of our time there looking for a chemist to hopefully get Angie something to make her feel a little bit better. The day did improve, and Angie actually improved as the day went on. She started feeling better and better, to the point where in the evening we were able to go to the very nice restaurant which was on the premises of where we were staying, and we had this really nice steak meal. She looks really well, but she actually relapsed a little bit the following day, unfortunately. So we are now back in Border Town. We left. Mount Gambier was a bit of a sort of a non-event, really, wasn't it? The place where we were staying, which was good and bad. We had a lovely steak meal, but there was some kind of downsides to that motel as well. Namely, the neighbours in the room next door on the first night were an absolute nightmare. They stayed up partying or whatever they were doing till 20 to 3 in the morning, and then they seemed to go to sleep for an hour and 20 minutes, and at 4 a.m. they just woke up and put telly on, and so that was a bit of a nightmare. The bed in the room was also the worst one that we've come across in our entire trip. It was like some sort of giant marshmallow. It was so soft, it was ridiculous. Anyway, I slept upside down on the mat that you're supposed to put your luggage on, because I just couldn't sleep on the mattress, it was too soft. Anyway, so we're now back in Border Town at the same place we stayed on the way down, which is 105 on the Park, which is a lovely little motel. It's fine, really nice, family run it, and we've got the smallest room as it happens this time, because it was the only one that was available. So this is our little dwelling for tonight. It is small, it is compact. That is it in its entirety. Bit struggling for space, but it's okay. Spotlessly clean. And a little shower there and a loo behind the door. So it's all you need. Perfect. And we know there's a nice restaurant in town tonight, so we'll probably go back there, won't we?
It was a good meal last time.
So yeah, and the good thing is the weather's set to pick up a little bit as well now. So we're heading up towards Adelaide again tomorrow, and it's looking like should be sunshine and warm, fingers crossed from now on, because it's been pretty rotten on the way here this morning. We didn't do any proper filming because it was just cold and blustery and windy, but you know, it was just get here as quick as you can, really. And just like that, it's the following day. So we're just leaving Bridgetown.
Bridgestone's tyres, though.
Bridgestone's tyres, yes, the town. And this is the second time we've left Bridgetown. But today we're going back towards Adelaide. So we probably won't do quite as much filming in the next few days, for the simple reason that we are just backtracking now. We're effectively on our way home, and certainly once we leave Adelaide there's really only one way home. So we'll be staying in pretty much the same places and going down pretty much the same roads. So I won't bore you with all that, just give you little snippets along the way, I guess. So today is 13 degrees, there's not a cloud in the sky, it's considerably nicer than yesterday. We both had a decent sleep, didn't we, Ange?
Yeah, good.
And Angie's feeling a little bit better today, aren't you?
Yeah, just a swirly.
Still a bit wishy-washy, but
taking all my tablets.
With whatever it is that's Angie's little bug she's got is taking a bit of shaking off. Still feeling a bit crappy. But the weather as we head towards Adelaide is due to get better and better. We're doing a little stop in an hour for a coffee at the Silo Cafe where we stopped on the way down, so we're going back there because it was nice. And then we're going to go excuse me excuse me again, and we're going to go back through Harndorf, which was raining when we came through before, so we'll no doubt stop there and have another drink or something and have a little wander around. That looked really nice little place.
Yeah, that did look beautiful.
And then we've got to find somewhere to stay in Adelaide. We're going to have a couple of nights and hopefully do a little bit more exploring there. Like to ride through the Barossa Valley and such like, so fingers crossed Andrew's up for it. Just see how we go. So we're just coming into Harndorf. We did have a quick stop off about an hour ago for a brew. And now Harndorf is a very picturesque little German village. We drove through earlier, but it was raining and horrible. We've come back for another look on a nice day. And today is just about perfect. It's now 21 degrees. And, ideal. Welcome to Harndorf, said the sign. Excuse me. A nice tree-lined little entrance. Very picturesque little town. So we just had a nice little wander around Harndorf, and it is super quaint, isn't it, Ange?
Beautiful. Love it. It's probably the nicest place been over here up to now.
It's very touristy. It's obviously designed to attract the tourists, which it's doing very well on a Monday.
Yeah,
It's
it was very
pretty swarming
busy.
with people.
Very
but
atmospheric.
Really interesting little shops there with some really unusual stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff in some of them, and a Christmas shop there full of all sorts of stuff. Sadly,
But when you're on a motorbike, you can't carry it out.
We're
Not got
absolutely
room for
packed
clothes,
solid.
have we?
We just took our puffer jackets off because it's getting warm now, and one of the bags that we're using is literally bursting at the seams. It's starting to split at the seams. So
It's just got to last about a week and a half left on it.
we've not got the storage space for the stuff we've already got, let alone buy anything else. Which is a bit of a shame. It sort of would have been nice to take something, a little bit of memorabilia back, but
Not happening.
oh. So next stop is Adelaide. About 40 minutes. It's only 20 It's only a 20 odd Ks, but I think it's going to be quite a lot of it traffic.
Some beautiful houses and things, isn't there?
Would have been nice to have an ice cream there, and there was a dedicated ice creamery. But of course it was closed. I think it was the only shop there that was closed, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And there was another one that had a very lame selection of ice cream, so we decided not to bother.
You know, there's a nice one in Glenelg you can have today or tomorrow.
Yeah, where we're going, there's a couple of nice ice creameries there. So we'll knock off a few Ks and catch up with you in back in Adelaide. See you there.
Bye.
So we've just dropped down out of the Adelaide Hills and we're kind of bypassing the city a bit and heading for Glenelg. So coming down out of the Adelaide Hills into Adelaide itself is very much like coming down out the Perth Hills onto what we refer to as the flats, because the majority of Adelaide, like Perth, is flat, and you can see it in the distance as you're winding your way down, but you're going to come to the flat section, which is the city. It seems very similar. In fact, it's so similar in so many ways, it's quite bizarre. The property is considerably older here, a lot more colonial and just a lot older, where I think an awful lot of Perth has been, the older houses have been knocked down and replaced with new flashy modern ones.
Because there's a lot of people working at the mines, isn't there?
Yeah.
A lot of the areas remind you of like Fremantle in Perth, don't they? More traditional area. Or Mount Lawley.
Yeah, the majority of Adelaide is like certain parts of Western Australia, traditional parts, but we've got a lot more modern parts in WA as well, which it doesn't seem to be, not that we've seen anyway at the time we've been here. So it is now the following morning. We've had a little bit of a snack before we've set off today, so we're pretty much set up for the day, I think, food-wise. Excuse me. And today's the day that we're hoping to explore the Barossa Valley. So, put it all into the sat-nav. Really don't know where we're going, to be fair. But I think I've sussed out a ride around what... it's actually, I found it a bit difficult to suss out which bit is actually the Barossa Valley. There is a Barossa Valley Way, which I assume kind of goes through it, but then I don't know kind of where it starts and finishes. Anyway, we'll see how we go. It's a bit cloudy and a bit miserable. It was sprinkling a little bit with rain earlier, but it appears to have stopped now. We've thrown our waterproofs in the bags just in case. And I think we've got best part of an hour to ride before we start to get out of the city and into the interesting. We'll see. It's all new. So for anybody considering doing one of these little bit longer trips where you're away for, in this case, a month, what have been the challenges, Angie? What have the thing that springs to mind for me, the biggest challenge has been clothing. In that, obviously the weather varies, and you do spend a fair bit of your time being either too hot or too cold, or just not quite getting the clothing right, and carrying the appropriate clothing to try and be comfortable is not easy when you've got two people on one bike with all your luggage. Would you agree?
It'd definitely have been better if I could have had my own bike, wouldn't it?
Oh, if you was on two bikes, it would absolutely be easier, because you'd have twice the luggage capacity, and you just wouldn't be struggling with the weight. And the thing that we found quite challenging that I absolutely didn't foresee coming was this bike has self-adjusting suspension, so the more weight that you put on it, i.e. a pillion and luggage, the more the bike raises its own suspension. You can set it to minimum, but we've very much been advised against doing that and riding around on the minimum height setting with all that weight on day in, day out. So essentially you leave the bike set on auto, so it raises itself up to what it considers a safe height so that it won't bottom out due to all the weight. But then that makes it very easy for somebody like Angie, who's got pretty short legs. Did I say easy then?
You
No,
said
no, I
easy,
didn't
you mean
mean to
hard.
say that. Yeah, it makes it really hard for somebody like Angie with
Who's got
short
no
legs to get on and off. Because I'm kind of on my tippy toes a little bit, and invariably you find yourself stopping quite a lot in a situation where the ground is a bit gravelly. So tall bike, tippy toes, gravelly is all a recipe for disaster anyway. And then when you've
Short,
got
dumpy
somebody
female who's a bit clumsy.
struggling and pulling to get up onto the bike, it's really hard. It feels like she's trying to pull me over. So that was something I absolutely never saw coming, but it has been a bit of an issue. And I think the only other thing really has been trying to keep yourself comfortable in terms of not too hot or not too cold. On this trip up to now, we have had 36-degree days of long driving in 36 degrees. I think it touched 37 maybe at one point. And then we've had cold mornings where it has been pretty damn cold. We've had rain, not crazy heavy rain, but we have had rain, and we've had really bad winds.
That was another thing, getting on and off with all that gear on, because it was really cold one morning. So I had long johns on, the bike jeans, which are like 2 layers, and then my waterproofs, and trying to get my leg over with all the luggage on was a little hard that first morning.
Yeah,
because I was feeling rough as well. I had hardly any energy, so trying to pull my leg up through 4 layers of clothes when I'm feeling like I was walking through treacle anyway with cold and flu.
So yeah, there's things to consider that we hadn't necessarily even thought of. They're all get-overable.
We've had a good laugh, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had a good laugh, yeah, absolutely.
At each other, mainly.
Mainly at each other, well, that's normal. Of late, we've started, whenever we're setting off or stopping, we're trying to do it by a curb, daft as that sounds, but it just makes it so much easier when I can put my left foot on a curb that's raised up a few inches, and Angie can step off onto the curb. It does make life a lot easier.
I'm not pulling you
not
in
always
with all
a
the weight,
curb.
then, am I?
Yeah, there's not always a curb there, so it just gets a bit sketchy on occasion.
There's been a fair bit of wind, side wind as well, hasn't there, on this trip?
Yeah, wind has been an issue.
Not noticed that before.
Accommodation hasn't been a problem. We've not really had too much. We've found good accommodation pretty much everywhere we've looked. We've purposely
Food's been pretty generous, pretty
we've
good,
paid for
sorry.
We've paid for nice accommodation everywhere, so we've not kind of done that on the cheap. So we've had a nice room. A lot of the time we've had Wi-Fi. The only other thing that's been a little bit, not a problem, but you've got to see it coming, is washing. Because of course you're not travelling with a month's worth of clothing, you're travelling with a few days worth. So you've got to wash things. That's not too bad, but getting them dry. If you wash something and then you're moving on tomorrow, is it dry? Is it going to be dry? So we're a bit stuck in traffic, so we'll turn the cameras off a little bit and we'll catch up with you again when we get a bit nearer the Barossa. Bye for now. So we're just going through the town of Gawler, which is basically where you seem to pick up the Barossa Valley Way, which is just ahead here. And so we're now heading
through Sandy Creek and then Lindock, I believe. But this is Gola. Turn left with care. So we are officially on Barossa Valley Way now and in the Barossa. Just feels like a nice country road.
Seeing one vine. Oh no, there's another vine through there.
Vineyard, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The sun is trying its best to creep out. It's been a bit miserable this morning so far, but it's trying a little bit. Very much wine country for sure.
Yeah.
Lindock. Welcome to Lindock. It's amazing how different parts, just coming through there then, parts of it really reminded me of the Swan Valley.
Yeah.
And then other parts really look like the Chittering Valley.
Yeah.
And then you come into a little town like this and it's sort of like 2J.
Yeah.
They're all just a mishmash of the same
Yeah.
sort of thing, aren't they really? I'll just pull in for a second and put the next destination into the sat-nav.
Oh, pretty little area.
So this is the town of Tanunda. Just had a nice little cup of tea. And quite a nice little cafe there. That was quite a cute little place. But we sat outside so Angie didn't see it from the inside. But no, it was quite nice. I can certainly understand why people come to the Barossa Valley. It's a nice place for a little weekend away or something like that. There's a bit going on as well. Yeah, lovely area.
And if you like doing the wine tasting, I would think it'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's some amazing properties that are essentially vineyards, I suppose. And for anybody that's not familiar with Western Australia, our equivalent area back home is the Swan Valley, but the Swan Valley is much smaller. It's very similar in appearance and everything, but it's much smaller. The Barossa Valley is obviously spread out over a much greater area. So I think this is kind of the end of having ridden through the Barossa Valley. I think we've sort of come to the end of it now, because I know shortly after this we hit back on the main road, and essentially we're heading back into Adelaide after that. It must still be classed as the Barossa, this, I suppose. These OTR garages that seem to be in association with BP are everywhere in South Australia, and they're very good. They seem to have a bit of everything. They have 95 octane fuel for sure, which is a plus for us, but they have a good range of food and all sorts. They just seem to be really well kitted out. We don't have them in Western Australia.
We just have very expensive BP garages.
We just have BP, and they seem to be the dearest, the most expensive of the lot. Whereas OTR seem to be very competitively priced here. Yet they're still BP, which makes no sense. So I guess from here, really, we're basically heading back now.
Have a little walk, wouldn't it, and get the bloody helmets off for a bit.
You have to push me up. Give us a push. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, I can't. Got earplugs in.
He's got earplugs in as well.
Just trying to work out how the hell you're going to get on, because
I know, because it's going lower here. I know, and I put my foot on there, and I've got like that much space to get my other leg through, and then he goes mad with me because I'm rocking
It's not easy. It's not easy. It's a lot. Go on then when you're ready.
Well, I'll try, but this is low.
Go on, go.
You ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo. Did it.
See ya.
Bye.
And today's the day that we're hoping to explore the Barossa Valley. I'll start that again because I've lost the ability to speak. So thank you for... No, that's it. Nuriutpa. There we go. I don't know how you say that. But there we are. This is it.